Yo guys, what's going on? This is Yoki Man here. Welcome back to another episode of this Football Manager 2021 rebuild here with Burnley. And let's not chit chat, let's not waste time, let's get into it and see what happened. It's been another season, it's been another year, a lovely year at Burnley. It's lovely. Stuff's been improved, the squad's improved, we've improved. Most importantly, I won some games, and that's really important. And there was no relegation battle. Let's see what happened. Right, boys, so here we are, end of season number 1 before we've got any business done. And also, that was awful. I do apologise for that instantly. I am sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm lying to you there. So let's just unpick everyone initially. Let's clear the entire squad. And let's just talk about expectation of this upcoming season before we actually show you what happened in that season. And this is the squad at the moment. As you can see, the majority of this squad I will probably try and keep intact. Obviously, there's some waifs and strays that are going to be moved on, and I think over the progression of season number 1 is when we'll see the squad turn from what it is here to more, I would just say more of a Premiership squad. The squad at the moment is very up and down. There's some brilliant players, there's some very average players, and then there's some players that don't really contribute anything to the squad or to the team whatsoever. They're really bad. They're really bad. So we need to turn that around. We need to turn some players around. Also, budget-wise, we're not absolutely screaming with finances. We don't have tons, but we have enough there to make another impact this season. Again, I'm not going to do ridiculous things with Burnley. I'm not going to use the cheese of going and putting loads of add-ons on with players and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that. We're going to do it straight transfers, stuff like that. The only thing I might put on is if we sign some youngsters, I might put the fee of, I think it's paying for so many appearances or something like that, or we sign a young striker. I might say if he scores 20 goals, then I'll give you an extra blah, blah, blah. So far, so good, though. And what we need to do is bring back Axel Tuanzebe. We know that already, whether it's a loan. And I'd love to bring back Curtis Jones as well. That'd be a decent deal if we can get that done. We've got to remember that we have this youngster from Barcelona Academy boy, Colombian as well, youngster that maybe might be able to start making a few games next season. We might just loan him out, but, there's a good opportunity there for him. And as well as Alan Campbell coming in, we've also got PQ. Never ever going to get that right. I know that already. But an 18-year-old striker not wanted anymore from Barcelona's under-19s joining us as well. So he could be the future of our just up top. He does like to beat the offside trap, which I found this year is a fantastic player trait. Moves into channels is always good. Not keen on the tries first-time shots. But I haven't had a bad experience with that trait. It seems bad that he's going to shoot first time because we play a complete forward, so he drops a little bit to pick up the ball. Not massively, but he might drop a bit to pick up the ball, which means PQ, this guy might shoot a lot from distance, and I don't really like the idea of that, but we'll see what happens. So here we are now, boys. You join me a year into the future. It's near enough exactly a year. I didn't match the dates up, but I bet the dates match very similarly, and instantly you can see a little bit of information here. Not too much, but you already know that we finished 8th this season. 2 points! 2 points off of European football. So it's a marked improvement, obviously, and we had a much better all-round season instead of having like a good start and a bad finish, or a bad start and a good finish like we had last season. So it's been all around a better season. There's been some changes in the squad, which we'll go through initially. And as you can see here already, some of the player stats, Michael Gregorish stayed with the club and got 17 goals this season. So very good from him. But let's go through the transfers first, the players that came in and the players that went out to help us achieve what we achieved this year. See, I forgot I could do this. I just cover up the transfers this way. So our transfers in are there, but let's first of all go through transfers out. We'll do it by fee as well. For me, it makes sense to do it that way. And first of all, a player who came in and went out. I feel like I'm Alan Sugar, basically, from The Apprentice. This was such a great deal. Jonathan Caleri came in on I know I said that wrong, but he came in on a free, and we sold him for 27.5 million. I don't know what happened. Newcastle are idiots. Mike Ashley or whoever's there is just, thank you. I appreciate you a lot. You're very nice. You're very kind. He played like 4 games. In they gave me 27.5 million. I signed him for nothing. It's great. That's good news. Chris Wood left to Bournemouth, the team he was on loan at. J. Rod, I really wanted to keep him, but he wanted to move on. He said he wanted to do it for his career. He wanted to try out playing somewhere else. I let him go to Trabzonspor. I'm sure he's having a great time. Johan Berg Gudmundsson, just too old for a winger for me. And if he had the pace, he'd still be fine. It's not about the age. It's more about the pace he had, and it wasn't good enough. 4.2 from St. Etienne Vidra to Birmingham for 2.2. Andres Christensen, a player who I actually liked. Can make myself short again now. Okay, so we won't be doing that again because that was way more difficult than I actually thought it would be. But Anders Christensen is basically the next biggest one out. And, I liked him. He just couldn't perform. He's gone to Basel and he's been very good for him. I don't know if it was the Prem and the physicality maybe of the Prem, but he had the mentals I wanted. He's got the technical ability, but genuinely never performed well for us, ever. Are we going to see his career stats? Yeah, he never performed well. Average rating of 6.66, and then the season before, average rating of 6.68. So I just couldn't get a performance out of him. It's frustrating when you have a player like that. I know he's good. I just couldn't get him to do it. Honestly, moving the camera is way more difficult than I expected it to be. I didn't really think much of it, but for some strange reason I end up clicking on all sorts. We've got rid of the webcam border as well now. We don't need it. But anyway, a couple more players leaving the club. Dale Stevens, 1.9. Ashley Westwood, Matt Loughton. To be honest with you, it was kind of a changing of the guard, where the older guard left, and we brought in some new players. Not all youngsters. I don't mind older players with the way I play. I just felt like these guys were not the calibre of player to suit a system that I want to play, and also for Burnley going forward in the future. So, players in. This camera work is great. Axel Twanzebe, this will probably be a terrible edit. We did manage to bring him back £12 million. Very happy with him. And as I slowly move myself away, because this is pointless right now, I'm going to drag myself down there. We signed Josh Onomer from Fulham on 4.9 million, rising to 6 if he plays the games that he needs. To be honest with you, I was really happy. When you look at him, he's very good. 24 when we signed him, 25 now, obviously. He's just a really good player for the price we paid. I think he's very good, and yeah, I like him. I really like him, and he had a pretty decent season, average rating of 6.9. No, he definitely came on strong towards the end as well. Pablo Maffio, we really needed a right back with the situation, and Matt Loughton really was our right back, and Adam Smith, who's getting on, but he's been a good performer for us. I wanted a nice, talented young player that was pretty decent technically as well. All right, he's not great defensively. He works really hard, though. That's the key for me. He's going to get up and down those wings all day long. And yeah, really happy with Pablo Maffio. I think he's a quality right back for this club. We signed Daddy Ame, who came in, and the less we talk about him, probably the better. He had an all right year. He just kept whinging. So in terms of his football on the pitch, very good. As you can see, his mentals are fantastic. He's not bad physically for 30. He's very good. Good marking, good tackling. I brought him in to be someone physical in that centre of midfield to allow other players to have the freedom to do what they want, and he was going to work hard. He was going to be my grafter, and in the end, he just ended up whinging a lot, which, I don't know, it just frustrates me. You saw Calalari came in on a free, and then he went out for 20. I got 27.5 million. It's just fantastic. Marcus Edwards, the superstar, basically. The biggest transfer, I would say, we did. Valued at 30 million now. It wouldn't surprise me if people want him. He nearly was going to be the top goal scorer. 14 goals there and 5 assists from out of the wing. Yes, I'd like more from him, but in terms of his first year here at Burnley, fantastic. He's just a great player. If you've not used him, go use him. I mean, he's fantastic. He lacks in areas, but none of them are going to impact the way that I play him, and he's been fantastic. He's played inside forward, actually, not inverted winger, so we're not even really relying on his crossing, and he beats players for fun. I've seen him dribble past several players and slot it home, and it's magnificent to watch. We signed Cameron Carter-Vickers on a free. This was kind of a weird transfer window, this one, right? A weird one, because Peck came here, you know about him. But on the first, several players joined. I did all my business before the window opened and had a little bit of an issue registering players, but it's fine because we moved a few. Cameron Carter-Vickers came in on a free and then I loaned him out. So I don't know if he'll ever be anything for us. We might just sell him on for a bit of cash, but I feel like he's a decent player. João Novias came in from Braga. I've played as Braga before on the channel. I know this guy. He's a fantastic playmaker, and that's exactly why I signed signed him. Would I like him to have more work rate? Yes, but I guess he's kind of the luxury midfielder in that midfield partnership. Well, the midfield three. And yeah, he's probably the luxury player in there. And he's very good. I mean, 3 goals, and they were all screamers, 4 assists. He slowly started bedding into the squad. He had a bit of an injury as well, which was frustrating. You saw Peku. Abdul Mum, it's just, it never sounds right, but it is so right because he was extraordinary. He came in as backup because Ben Mee, for me, plays all the time now because we use long throws, and Ben Mee is wonderful at them, and he's been playing next to Tarkowski or Twanzebe, who's played DM as well, of course. We used him DM last year, and yeah, average rating 7.21. Who knew that was going to happen when I signed him? Because I didn't. Victoria Gumaresh on a cheap. He's brilliant. I can't wait to use him again this season. He definitely adds quality to our squad. He has a different dimension at the back. He's very physically good. He can head a ball. He's not terrible at passing it either. Yes, I'd like him to be able to tackle a little bit more, but he can't get everything for the price we paid. His mental's he's very good. He's very good. I'm glad we managed to pick him up and for so cheap. And then last but not least, we had Charlie Taylor as our left back. We needed another left back. Adam Smith was playing both sides, and we signed Greg Taylor. I mean, he was cheap from Celtic. Again, I did very smart business this season. I didn't go out and just go for all these big name players. That's not really my style when I do these rebuilds. I want it to have some level of realism. I don't want us to go from being Burnley that are potentially mid-table side to being Burnley that are Premiership winners within 3 seasons. That's just, I don't know. That just isn't exciting to me. So Greg Taylor comes in, and he's a very good left back for us. He's got some of the attacking capabilities that Taylor has, not the pace, which is a little bit upsetting, but where he lacks in that, he's got the work rate, and he's very good defensively. 14 tackling, 15 marking makes him a very good defensive left back. And if we decide to play full back there on this side and wing back on this side, it just leaves us with somebody else back. And yeah, I thought it was a really good bit of business. He's already valued quite highly. He didn't play masses. Charlie Taylor's always going to start when he's fit, but it's good to have another option for once. So with that being all the players coming in, let's see how we got on this season. Carabao Cup knocked out in the 3rd round, Man City. We got really terrible draws in the Cup this year. It really wound me up because I feel like, as you saw last year with the FA Cup final, we're a side that can definitely go far in the Cup if we get given the opportunity. You draw Man City in the 3rd round and Liverpool in the 5th round, and it was worse. So the 3rd round sees us drawn against Forest. Not the most difficult, but they're a Premiership side this year, so it's still a Prem team. We beat them 1-0. And then the team after that is Chelsea. We get Chelsea. We beat them 4-0. Don't ask me how, but we beat them 4-0. They've been very good this year as well, might I add. We beat them 4-0. And then we're coming to the draw. I'm like, all right, cool. We've had 2 Prem sides, 5th round. We should probably get someone a little bit smaller, maybe. But no. Wasn't to be. Got Liverpool, who beat us in the final last year. And again, our arch rivals in this FA Cup knocked us out, beat us 2-1. It was a tight game. They scored really late on, if I remember it correctly. Yeah, Lautaro Martinez, 92nd minute. And yeah, that was all she wrote. But frustrating that we got these draws. In the Carabao, we had Sunderland first, but then Man City in the 3rd round of the Carabao. It's just, I don't know. I felt like we got rough draws in the Cup this year. And in the league, as you can see, we just lost out. We lost out to Aston Villa, which is probably the most frustrating part because they're not even that good. Man City had a poor season and then a resurgence. And in hindsight, Burnley being 8th just makes us more and more as years go on a Leicester, Southampton these days. A team that's going to slowly start to push for that European spot. And to be honest with you, in reality, when I look at the squad, I'm kind of happy we didn't get Europe. I know that's sacrilege because it's Europe, but the Europa League doesn't pay out that much money. And the way the teams go in, I could have really done not having to play that many extra games this season. I think this could be a good season for us coming up. The squad's really starting to come together. The tactics really starting to get there. And I genuinely think we could have a good chance of probably pushing again in this area, but maybe even going one further. I'm being way too optimistic there. I'm not saying we'll get Champions League. I've got a transfer window to do first. What I'm saying is the club and the squad is certainly getting more consistent. Now, we were in the top 3. By Christmas, we're in the top 3. So you wonder, What actually happened? Where did we go wrong? So really, it was a mixed bag this season for me. It was a mixed bag because, as you see, we beat Watford, Newcastle, Everton, started well, lost to Spurs, and that kind of put us on a bit of a run. We drew with Watford, lost to Man United, lost to Sheffield United, which is not good enough, but then we beat Chelsea, then we lost to Villa, then we beat Southampton. But these kind of results were keeping us in the top four. I don't know how. It was keeping us in the top four, and as you see, by the end of Christmas, we were third. By the end of Christmas, we were third. We went on a great run here, beating Palace, Brighton, Norwich and Leicester to end the calendar year. And then, unfortunately, I don't know what happened. I just don't know what happened. If there's just a couple of wins, in this section here, this one section here, then we're fine. We would have European football. And there's a couple that were close. We've got to be beating Newcastle. We've got to be beating Southampton. We've got to be beating Sheffield United, especially when we take the lead. You know, there's some good results. We came back and beat Man United late, but then Spurs got a 92nd minute winner, which would have been a point there for us. I think Everton was something similar. No, it wasn't Everton. I think it might have been Man United, or was it Sheffield United? Yeah, Sheffield United late goal. And there was just some frustration there. And Watford, again, a game we should be winning. So a couple of them are wins and we're in Europe. And I think next season we'll be able to do that. We won't go on a run like that. Now, the back end of the season wasn't bad. We beat Villa, beat Forest, drew with Liverpool in a great game. But then again, this has to be a win against West Brom. We drew. We then beat Man City. I don't know how we did it. We beat Man City. We lost to Arsenal. And that was kind of a stage where I knew if we won the last 4 games, we might finish in Europe. We did beat Brighton. We went and beat Palace. And then, unfortunately and frustratingly, we lost 3-1 to Leicester. And that was it. That was all she wrote. I knew once we lost to Leicester, that was it. Game over. There was no way we were going to get it. It would have been difficult anyway. But had we beaten Leicester, we'd have got European football. 2 points. So this would have been free. So it was frustrating. We dominated the first half, didn't score enough. And in the second half, Leicester kind of took over. And there's not much more you could do. But we did end our season by battering Norwich. So sorry, Norwich. But yeah, 4-1 victory. And this does help me highlight 2 players here that had fantastic seasons. Good old Dwight Mcneil. He's unbelievable. He's amazing. I think I mentioned this in the last episode, but Dwight Mcneil on this year's game is fantastic. He had a great season, 10 goals, 4 assists. There's one thing that has frustrated me about Dwight Mcneil this season, and that was injuries. But his back-end run of the season is where we saw more of his goals, and to me just shows me where he's going to be at going forward. And we started using him as an inside forward. He's worked really well. The unfortunate fact is that he is wanted, but it's by Hertha, and, you know, he's going to choose us over Hertha. I believe it. I want to stay with Yorkie. And obviously, we mentioned there Gregoritsch, and Gregoritsch, again this year, he's 28. He's coming into his prime. And he is very good, like attribute-wise, he just is good. He avoids using his weaker foot. His long-range free kicks is fine because he doesn't take the free kicks. So none of those impact him. He doesn't actually have that many cons when you look at it. His cons are lack of determination, which I can get over for a striker, and the individual training regime to improve free kicks, but he doesn't take free kicks, so it doesn't matter. Gregoritsch has been fantastic for me. He's off the ball movement. He's very good for a Premiership striker for the price point, and I think they undervalue him, obviously, for some strange reason. They look at him as a winger. He's not. He plays up top for us, complete forward. And he's been brilliant again. Top goal scorer, 17 goals, 5 assists, and I think that's fantastic for the Premiership and a team that's just upper mid-table. So this was the tactic that we ended the season on. Now, I've been working on several different ones. We did this middle press as well. I'm just working on some middle press stuff. I must admit, I'm kind of plotting my own downfall sometimes on this save because I'll take little breaks from it, obviously, to do the streaming and record other stuff. And then when I come back, I do fiddle around with it. I'm a little bit of a Ranieri. I'm a Tinkerman. And I do fiddle around with the tactics a lot. I've kind of used this save to try out different stuff and try and figure out where the best way to press on the pitch is and some of the different roles and stuff. But this is kind of the aggressive way we played. We played it on the attack a lot, to be fair, towards the back end of the season. It brought us some good results, but again, it brought us that loss against Leicester. But this is the tactic we're probably going to look at using a lot more going forward now. I think we're probably the aggressor against a lot of sides. And as you saw, we drew far too many this season. When I say far too many, I mean 12. We drew 12. just come on. There's way too many games to be drawing. We drew 12 games, so that's going to be what we look at going forward. I would rather win games. I'd rather go for the game more, which we didn't do before, and that was probably the mentality of a mid-table side where we went, this isn't a bad point. That's not a bad point. We'll hold instead of pushing for the win, and I think we'll probably try and push for the win moving forward a little bit more often because the squad is better this year. It's definitely better going forward with Dwight, Edwards, Podence, Gregorich, and some of the other players we've got. And with some of the other players we've got in midfield now, we can be a little bit more aggressive with our DM sitting there instead of playing less aggressive. And also, when you've got Pablo Maffio and you've got Taylor on the pitch, they're two very good offensive fullbacks. So we could just be a little bit more aggressive with the way we play and the style that we play this time out. And I'm going to probably keep pushing that. Now, notable situation here. Ashley Barnes wants to leave the club. He didn't get that much game time this year. It is sad to see him go. He did score 4 goals and he was kind of our super sub at times. But he wants to leave, and I just said to him, I said simply, Ashley, not a problem. I'll let you go, mate, because I'm that kind of man. And to be honest with you, he wouldn't have played much next season, but I would have kept him because he's been a brilliant servant of the club. I did also mention that Adiemi had a few issues with, and we're probably going to look to move him out because he's unhappy. And Daniel Podence was the same. I had 2 rows with him last year. Don't like rowing with him because he's been a great player for me. Don't want to be rowing with you, Daniel. Really don't. But stop being a dick. So he might go as well because I do have this thing. I don't know if anybody else has this when they're playing FM, but he upset me last season on a couple of occasions, which made me drop him. I'm not having that. Squad harmony is important on FM. So Daniel, you carry on, Daniel. You carry on like this, you're gone. He did have a good season in patches. As you see at the end of the year, 6.66 average rating. But it is hard to look past some of the poor performances being sub-performances when he come on when we weren't winning. And it's difficult to gauge it because he did play a little bit of a bit part player when we kept falling out because I just went, screw you, Daniel. I'd play McNeil and Edwards, and if we were losing, I'd bring Daniel on, and he just didn't really have an impact. So I would like to keep him. He's a very good player. He's definitely a bit of me. He's quality. But if he keeps whinging, he's gone because I've had enough. He can't keep whinging. He'll go. But ideally, we'd keep hold of him because, to be honest with you, when it comes to wingers, that's probably our weakest position because although Josh Onomer can play there, he's definitely not an inside forward. Now we're using inside forwards. Edwards, McNeil and Podence all can play that pretty comfortably. I'd like Podence to be better at finishing, but apart from that, he's very good in those areas, especially dribbling and getting in behind. So if we lost another winger, it's going to be a problem because they're not cheap. We are going to have to find another winger this window anyway, and they're not cheap. As I said, they're not cheap. We can't afford 2 because there's a couple of areas I'd like to improve. Now, Jeffrey Broomer will be going as well. We had a falling out, but I'm happy with him going. I don't really like him. Ben Mee, you look at him, 32, he ain't going nowhere. Until we find someone that can throw the ball long, he ain't going nowhere because he's been a machine this year. Do you know what? 9 assists. They're all long throws, boys. 9 assists. So I'd like to keep Ben Mee around. I've actually really enjoyed using him. And for a 32-year-old, it doesn't feel like he's 32. Average rating of 7.11. Hopefully, we can keep him fit. That will be a problem, but Ben Mee goes nowhere. So yeah, I'm happy with the squad. I'm happy with what we've got. And I'm looking forward to what we can achieve going forward. Let me know what you think down below. Predictions, maybe. Do you reckon we'll get Europe next year? I'm not overly upset. It was a little bit gutting because, when you're doing well, you think, oh, we're going to do it. And then in reality, I'm kind of thinking to myself, I'm not that bothered that we didn't do it because I know the first year in Europe in the Prem could definitely plummet some of your Prem results. So I think I'd rather we didn't get there yet until we had a squad where I felt like we were capable. I mean, you look at this team now, there's several players that were bit part and we've only got a 24-man squad. It's not enough, especially with youth. The youth, it's a problem. So, when you come on this screen, yes, I could go into all the players individually, but what I'm telling you is when you come on this screen, and you're in this section right here, and you look at a player that you signed, and one under-23 player that's not even got potential to be definitely 3 stars, there's a problem. The youth has been shocking. We've had 2 intakes in now. They've both been shocking. So, youth is a problem here at Burnley. I tried to get the board to improve facilities. They don't like the idea. They think we don't need to. Our youth's great. It's not. It sucks. So, youth is an issue. Although we have improved the staff. The staff last year weren't great. And this seems crazy because I'm saying we've improved them. They're not that much better. The coaching team, we improved the most, as you can see. It's far better than where it was. I tried to improve everywhere else, and it just didn't go very well. It went all right. We're better than we were before. We had the worst in the Premiership, and now we don't have the worst. But we're not where I'd like us to be. But we're just going to keep on improving the staff over time. It's certainly getting better, and we're getting better calibre of players pop up on that scout list. So that's probably one of the more important things. And the training seems to be improving as well. Players are improving quicker. So I don't know how much of a bearing it has, but it feels like it has a lot. But anyway, that's been it from me and the Burnley staff. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please leave feedback if you would like to. If it's negative, then I won't read it, because negativity is not good for you in your life. I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all well. Smash the like button. New around here, hit subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. We are trying to push for 1K, but we've been doing that for a while, so I kind of really, it just is what it is now. I'm aiming for weekly with these guys, but I want you to bear with me. I stream 6 days a week over on Twitch. Cheeky plug. Go follow me. It's at Yorkie Man. All my socials are Yorkie Man. They're always down below in the descriptions. So it's difficult to pump them out. It's time to sit down and play it. That's the most difficult thing. This part, it's not that bad. This video's 32 minutes, and it'll probably be about 25 for you guys. So it's not that hard to actually do this part, but actually sitting down and playing through the save is, because I'm doing so much stuff. I like to give myself way too much to handle. So more full me, really. Anyway, boys, I appreciate all the support. I will see you in the next episode, and in season 3, where hopefully Burnley will be Premier League champions, but most likely finish 7th, which I'll be absolutely happy with.